Who do you think moves on from a relationship faster? Men or women?
I always liked the Jeff Foxworthy bit cause it seemed so true. Girls get together, address it and cry or do what they need to work through it for a week then move on. Guys spend a week saying we didn't care then one day are chasing squirrels with the weed whacker crying, "She said she loved me." Deal with your shit and move on. Ignoring it never got anyone anywhere.
I don't think it is a gender-related issue. Generally speaking, the person who wants out of the relationship has had more time to contemplate on next steps for moving on. This gives them a bigger advantage since they have already imagined a life without their partner. The person who is the least emotionally invested in the relationship is likely to move on faster. It's worth noting not everyone who appears to have moved on has actually done so. People say I'm the life of the party 'cause I tell a joke or two.
Although I might be laughing loud and hearty.
Deep inside I'm blue. So take a good look at my face.
You'll see my smile looks out of place.
If you look closer, it's easy to trace the tracks of my tears. Smokey Robinson. In this era of social media, there are lots of people posting photos which don't truly represent their internal lives and mental state. Best wishes.
Depends on who starts getting laid regularly first.
Men try to move on fast but usually fail. Women don't try to move on fast but usually succeed. At least that's what I've usually seen.
Women because they typically have a better safety net of emotional support than men do. If it's a race, men do better off the starting line but women catch and pass them pretty quickly.
I think it has nothing to do with gender, but the individual themselves. Also, what weights in heavy is the fact of who ended the relationship. Someone who ended the relationship is mentally already further than the one who was on the other end.
Half of men and 50 of women.
Typically, it's the dumper that moves on first. Often the dumper has already partially let go of the relationship before the breakup, whereas the dumpy hasn't. This means the dumper often is seen to move on more quickly, when in reality, they've often started moving on when in the process of deciding to break up. Haha, yes, I stole those terms from John Green's An Abundance of Catherines.
Research shows that women do. If the woman made the decision to end the relationship, she's made every attempt to keep it going, sacrificing time and again to make it work. When she decides she is done, that's the final straw. No amount of begging or pleading will change her mind. At least that's what I have determined over the years. In my experience, she moved on quicker. My first and recently last one, I moved on quicker. The first one was horrendous and I had enough and ended it. The middle two dropped me like a hot potato and that was that. The last one, she ended it but I got over it quicker. I had a coworker who saw my grief and came to me for support and I love her for that. And I still do. She cried for me and with me and I shed a lot of tears and got many hugs. But I honestly think it depends on who has more support and access to emotional support when things fall apart as to who gets over it quicker.
All you people who think every woman have reliable emotional support and friends are kinda weird. Not all women have supportive and reliable friends who they go to whenever shit happens. I know women are portrayed like this often in movies, crying and venting to their female circle of friends, but not everything shown in movies are real. There are women who keep things to themselves. There are women who have no reliable emotional support. There are women who deal with shit alone. Stop stereotyping.
This is absolutely unscientific and based purely off my imagination, but I think women do.
Women deal with more intense emotions more often than men.
As such, they're more accustomed to the highs and lows and better prepared to move on.
Divorced for almost 10 years. She's had 2 fiancés in that time. I have yet to go out on a single date, yet not for lack of trying. Seems to me that she moved on much faster.
I think a great test case for this is traditionally gay versus traditionally lesbian couples. From my very scientific research of observing my friends, I'd say women. If things seems good 3 months and these bitches be living with each other and acting like they're old ball and chain. The homies seem to be less willing to make huge life swings based on a short relationship. Again, this is based on the very specific and data-driven analytics of me observing some friends' behavior through relationships over the years, so it's definitely accurate.
From what I've seen, women aren't usually hung up on one guy from their past. They take their time to properly grieve, then move on. A lot of guys are stuck on some girl they used to love, then fucked up the relationship and lost her, thought they were fine for a bit, then spend 23 years regretting.
Neither. Whoever has the most power in the relationship typically moves on faster, accepting sudden deaths. The one who was invested more and took the time to heal always seems to be going slower, but steady.
Women, every time. When surveyed, the results are the opposite, but that's because of women and men both lying in different directions about whether they've moved on.
Women. They have a big plan before you even know she's going to break up with you. Anything she needs will be covered long before she splits, including a new sew.
Whichever partner moved on from the relationship first, in their mind I mean. If the guy has been thinking it's over for like 6 months and he detaches and then springs it on her, she will take longer to get over it. Same in reverse. If the lady has checked out of their relationship but not told him and then she breaks up with him and he's blindsided by that, he will take longer to get over it than she will.
I'm a guy, but I'd honestly say women statistically do. A lot of it is due to the fact that women tend to start the grieving process much faster than men. Men tend to shrug it off when the initial breakup happens, so they may not show emotions right away, but then like 12 weeks, it starts to sit in and they start grieving. Now obviously this isn't going to be the case for every breakup. People handle breakups different regardless of gender, and the situations also differ as well. Also will depend on who broke up with who, how long they were together, etc., etc. Women. Easily. They only need to open an app and simply reply to one of 100 messages. Us men are easy. A man usually takes time to heal and get in shape. It usually works as an inverse in my opinion. Usually the girl is heartbroken at first and may want to salvage the relationship while the guy is celebrating newfound freedom. Fast forward a few weeks, the girl has usually gone through a phase of anger followed by acceptance. Right around the time the guy's high of getting to do whatever he wants is replaced for a want of stability and realizing he had they and gave it up.
Women long term. Men, we feel the pain later, then it hits us like a truck. The one with less anxiety. Depends who ends it. Whoever wanted it over originally would probably move on faster, as the other person would think about what they did wrong. Or something like that. I dunno, I've never had it happen.
It doesn't depend on gender, it depends on the personality. For example, there are both men and women who have a tendency to get a quick romance, while others prefer to build bonds for a long period of time.
Women do, of course. There's a saying, to get over one man you have to get under another. That tells you all you need to know about this.
Women. They can F the same day.
Women. Most of the women I have seen get into another relationship immediately after breakup.
I think it depends on who ends the relationship. Usually, the person who ends it gets over it a lot faster, probs because they were over it before it ended, thus the breakup. From what I've seen, though, girls are more likely to be the ones doing the breaking up, so they tend to have a better bounce back.
Women. They just move to who's next in line lol. I've moved in and my ex-girlfriend hasn't, so prob wanab.